All right, so today we're diving into 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀. You know, the custom bike company.
Yeah.
You sent over some notes. It seems like they're really trying to kind of scale up.
Right.
But they're running into some pretty classic growing pains.
Yeah, it's so common. A company finds a way that works,
Mm-hmm.
and then as they grow bigger, that very thing trips them up.
Exactly. And I was listening to this .mp3 file you sent over. It sounds like sourcing components is like a constant headache for them.
Yeah.
Imagine like you're trying to promise a customer their dream bike,
Right.
but you can't even get the handlebars on time.
And for a business like that, where it's so seasonal, you miss that spring rush.
Oh, totally.
And suddenly you're stuck with all this extra inventory.
Speaking of inventory, it sounds like their warehouse is overflowing with documents like design specs, order forms.
Oh, the classic version control nightmare.
It's gotta be a nightmare.
Sales is promising one thing. Production's working off an old design.
Ugh. And that wouldn't be such a problem if they weren't known for, like, custom builds, but that's their thing. Like,
Right.
someone wants their name engraved on the frame. Another person wants a very specific paint job. Keeping track of all that has got to be a full-time job in itself.
Customization's fantastic, but at scale.
Yeah,
That's the challenge. You need systems. You can't just hope it'll work out.
totally. And it sounds like that's what they're missing, like a proper system. Because here's the real kicker. They don't even have a clear picture of their production costs.
It's more common than you think a lot of companies, especially starting out. They're so focused on just getting the product out the door.
Makes sense.
They don't stop and think, how much is this actually costing me?
Yeah, you can't optimize what you don't measure.
Exactly.
And then to top it all off, their quality control relies on paper, it sounds like.
It's like trying to race a horse and buggy in this day and age. You've got to have the right tools,
It's true.
especially with such a specialized product like a custom bike. You can't be messing around with paper forms.
No, you can't. This is where that Odoo software comes in, right?
Yeah, the demo you sent over for Odoo 18.
Yeah.
It's amazing how it tackles these problems one by one.
Okay, so let's talk about like those unpredictable lead times.
Yeah.
How does Odoo 18 help with that?
They have this thing called the Master Production Schedule.
Okay.
The MPS,
About the
basically.
Rias?
It's like a visual timeline
Oh, cool.
of their entire production process so they can see when each component is expected to arrive, how long each stage of the build should take.
So they can finally get a handle on their actual capacity.
Exactly. And Odoo 18 actually made some big improvements to this.
Really?
They made it much easier to edit and adjust on the fly.
Like how so?
Let's say a supplier calls and says, hey, those handlebars are going to be late.
Oh, no.
Or 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀 suddenly gets a big order and needs to ramp up production. They can adjust that in the MPS and see the impact across the board.
Wow, so no more like updating a million different spreadsheets. That's
Exactly.
got to be huge for them.
It is, and all that paperwork you were talking about.
Oh, yeah, the mountains of it.
Gone with Odoo 18, they can attach documents directly to a product or to its build materials.
So, like, if I need to see the design specs for a specific bike frame,
Click, and it's right there.
no more digging through emails.
Exactly.
That's amazing. And it's not just for the back office, right? Like, this helps out on the shop floor, too.
Absolutely. Remember Lucas's engraved handlebars?
How could I forget?
With Odoo 18, that detail, any custom request is attached to the order the whole way through.
So no more lost sticky notes.
No more miscommunications between sales and production.
That's got to be such a relief for them. Okay, but what about when something goes wrong? Like, is there a way for employees to flag potential issues?
Yeah, Odoo 18 has this shop floor app.
Oh, cool.
So let's say Charlotte, our bike assembler, she noticed something off about the instructions for engraving Lucas's handlebars.
Poor Lucas, always getting caught up in these hypotheticals.
With this app, she can send instant feedback to the design team.
Right then and there.
No more waiting to the end of the day.
Or realizing after the bike is shipped.
Exactly. And here's the kicker in Odoo 18. This feedback triggers something called an engineering change order.
An engineering change order now, that sounds important. What is that?
Basically, it's a formal request to change a product's design or the manufacturing process.
Okay.
It's like a digital to-do list that makes sure the feedback actually gets implemented.
So it's not just capturing the information, it's actually using it to improve things.
Exactly. And speaking of improvement, let's talk about 𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗀𝗀's cost issues.
Right. They had no idea how much their bikes were actually costing them.
Right. Odoo 18 has this really detailed cost analysis tool.
Okay.
They can see exactly how much they're spending on materials, labor, even overhead.
For each bike.
For each bike.
Wow.
No more guesswork when it comes to pricing.
That's got to be huge for their bottom line. And I like that Odoo lets them compare their expected costs to the actual costs.
Right, that's where the real insights come in. Remember Lucas's engraving.
I was coming back to Lucas.
Well, that added a lot more time to the process than they initially thought.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which means higher costs.
And without Odoo, they wouldn't have even known.
Right, they were losing money, and they didn't even realize it.
Yeah.
But now they have the data to make informed decisions.
Exactly. So we've talked about lead times, documentation, communication costs. What about quality control?
Right, all that paper.
Yeah.
Odoo 18 digitizes the entire process.
Okay.
No more lost forms, bad handwriting.
Every step is recorded and tracked.
So let's say, hypothetically, someone's doing a quality check and they notice a scratch on the paint.
Oh, no, not another scratch.
Maybe on Lucas's bike, just to keep things interesting.
Of course, Lucas's bike.
But now, with Odoo 18, they can record the defect, take a picture, even link it to the bike's serial number.
So they know exactly which bike when it happened.
Total traceability.
It's like giving each bike a digital passport.
Exactly.
We've covered a lot: lead times, documentation, communication, cost control, quality control. Is there anything Odoo 18 can't do?
Well, this presentation focused on the production side.
Right. But there's more to it than just production, right?
Right. Think about what 𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 really cares about.
It's
Custom bikes. It's that personal touch.
Which honestly, up to this point, has been kind of a burden for them.
Yeah, they've been successful. But imagine if they could take all that data Odoo captures
Okay.
and use it to make that customer experience even better.
Okay. Now I see what you're getting at.
Instead of just like hoping a customer likes their bike,
Yeah.
you can actually keep them in the loop the whole way through.
Oh, like sending updates during the building process?
Exactly. With photos, progress reports, all tailored to what they ordered.
So it's like they're getting a behind-the-scenes look at how their dream bike is made.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
can even use that data for things like service reminders based on their specific bike,
Oh, that's smart.
or even recommend upgrades or accessories based on their riding style.
It's like taking what makes 𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 special and making it even more special.
Right. It's not just about making bikes faster. It's about connecting with your customers on a deeper level.
It's turning data into delight.
It's exactly.
Wow. So Odoo 18, it's not just a manufacturing tool. It's a whole new way of thinking about the customer experience.
I think that's what's so exciting about it. It's not just for big companies.
Right.
Any business can use this to improve.
Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive. It sounds like Odoo 18 could really be a game changer for 𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀.
Definitely. I'm excited to see what they do with it.
Me too. Thanks for breaking it all down with me.
I might